education, leadership, and beyond, surviving and thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and it is show number 188. Happy to be on with you. Happy to have you joining us. We are live on Facebook. We are a proud member of the Education Podcast Network, as well as Voice Ed Radio Canada. Hopefully after today's show, we'll be live in Colorado and in Hong Kong and in England, because my guest is touching all of those areas, so he'll help us make those connections. Today we are going to meet Nick as he pronounced these. I'm working on my pronunciation. Nick and Nick is a principal in Colorado. Nick is a former actor. Nick is a talented leader, and I'm looking forward to talking with him today's program 188. Before we get started, I do want to thank today's sponsor. It is holiday time. Whether you're celebrating Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever holiday it is you celebrate, people like cookies, people like sweets. Check out havesiescookies.com, discount code Murata15. David Maffei and his wife, they got a new baby. Incredible cookies. Nick, we're going to send you some for coming on the program. Murata15 is that code. Havesies Cookies. Check them out. They vacuum seal the cookies. They're shipped to you directly. It's a small business, so I know there's a lot of choices out there. We appreciate them sponsoring the program. Havesies Cookies. It is show number 188. If you are joining us, please leave us a question, a comment, get involved in the show. That's one of the great aspects of being live on Facebook, that we can interact with our guests. So we'd love to have you be part of the show. Additionally, if you look at the scrolling underneath, one of the great things, and Nick got to see me present, Nick was part of my presentation that I'm going to ask him about. I am getting my schedule out for next year, bookings into the summer, retreats, staff retreats, leadership workshops. If you are looking for your next keynote, reach out. Maybe we'll be a right fit, and I would love to connect with you. It's time to plan now for all of those things in the spring and the summer, and even into next fall, getting booked for those things. So I'd love to present for you in your district. All right, let's get started. The opening concept of today's show is be interesting and be interested, right? When I met Nick Ning, it was seconds. I was like, oh my God, this guy is the most world's interesting guy, right? In the beer commercial, the Dos Equis, right? They say there's the world's most interesting man, right? And that's how he's portrayed it. Well, Nick is, right? He raised in England. He is from Hong Kong, Chinese descent, and he's a leader in Colorado. He's acted. He's owned a business. Like, I was like so interested. Right? He had my attention. Be interested. Be interesting, right? Nick is interesting, right? He's got a lot going on, but he was also interested, right? That was another thing I noticed about him. He asked about me. He asked about my family. Sure enough, we met for a drink afterwards, and I wanted to take him for a drink, and he wound up treating for my whole family, which was incredible. Nick was very gracious. But he had both of those characteristics all in that short time that we got to spend together. And he left a great impression on me, right? So think about that as we go and interact with other people. How can we be interested in them, right? How can we show interest, asking questions, following up, asking about them while being interesting ourselves, right? We don't want to just give a generic answer. How you doing? Okay. Right? Interesting, right? Not that you're showing off, not that you're bragging, but be interesting, right? Have something going on, have something to share, have some input as a leader, as someone who's having an impact on education, right? If Nick just was vanilla, maybe we wouldn't have hit it off. Maybe we wouldn't have connected. Maybe we wouldn't have him on the podcast today. But that changed in a second, and I'm talking about meeting him. Well, let's have you meet him here in the show. We'll bring him in and talk about being interested and interesting. Nick, welcome to the program.
Hi, Andrew. I don't know if you can see, but I'm really red because I'm blushing after all those nice things you said.
Well, they were all true, and you know they were true, and you became the star of the presentation after we interjected you into it. But Nick, it's so nice to see you again. It's so nice to have you on the program. We're out in Colorado. Nick, tell our guests where you are right now.
So I live in a town called Fort Morgan. It's northeast of Denver. I would consider it a rural location. We have about 11,000 population of 11,000 in the town. So yeah, nice, peaceful little place.
Nice. When you're bringing the flavor there, Nick, what'd you think of the opening concept of being interesting and interested? What'd you think about that?
Yeah, excellent. As a leader, you have to have so many qualities, and the investment in your people. So if you are interested in your people, that translates. Absolutely, great title.
Yeah, well, and you demonstrated those characteristics immediately when we met you. So let's get to that interesting part. Nick, how does a guy who was from Hong Kong, Chinese descent, raised in England, studied in England, and how did you land in Colorado, right? Don't tell us the whole story because we're going to get to know you throughout the show. But how did you land there? Where how'd you, give us the cliff notes here.
Okay, Cliff, I know it's so tempting to go long on this. Short version, you're absolutely right. Brought up in Hong Kong, boarding school in England, university in England, and then I met a wonderful American girl. So that's how I ended up on the US side. She was a model, I was an actor at the time. We moved to New York City. We compromised on New York City. She was living in Paris. And that's where in New York, we spent 7 years working on our careers. And then she's originally from Colorado. So after 9/11, our industries took a huge hit. It was tough times. But we already had a daughter, and so we moved back to Colorado. After New York City, Hong Kong, London, Paris, everything in Colorado seemed like rural. So we were like, oh, well, let's move to this place called Fort Morgan. And here I am.
Wow. Just like that. What a transition for you. And we're going to touch on Broadway and your acting.
Yeah.
But why school leadership now? I know you went into art and business out there, but why school leadership? Tell me about the leadership in you and where that came from.
Sure. It really transitioning into the education field started with coaching. About 16 years ago, I was invited to coach in a soccer program for the high school. And what I realized was I enjoyed the interaction with the students. And that then evolved into substitute teaching. I spent 2 years substitute teaching, and I said, my gosh, I think I found my calling. And I was invited to become the high school art teacher, and we can get I'm somehow qualified. The truth. And I love teaching art in a high school. That's a sweet gig. If you ask any high school art teacher, it's a gig.
Yeah.
But what I realized was, as much as I loved it, I love to be challenged. And I realized one day when I started beginning of the year, just opening up folders and cut and pasting. What am I going to teach this semester? I needed to be challenged, and it's integral in my being to be challenged. To my sense of accomplishments comes from fixing things, resolving things, working things out, and I realized that was the direction I wanted to head in, and very quickly I worked at nights, at the weekends on my degree, and I was very lucky. Things just fell into place.
Acting, you're putting on a facade, right? And you want people to believe something that's not there. Whereas now you have authentic relationships, right? There's a performance aspect to what we're doing, but this is the real you. This is the real Nick. Tell me about that difference of being on stage and being somebody different as an actor, but now that authentic relationship that you build with staff and students and parents and all stakeholders, really.
Yeah, Great question, Andrew. It I would add to that. Being an actor, I went to drama school back in London too. We I spend a lot of time observing people, understanding people, listening, not just hearing, listening. And if one of the qualities that has really served me in this position is communicating with people, I
Mm.
have, and it's been noted, I have good instinct on relationships, good and bad. Like, oh, Nick, this one's going south. Yeah, I have a pulse on that, and that's really played into what I would say has helped develop my career. Um, Being able to respond quickly, to think on my feet, uh, it's almost like uh, uh, a live performance, right? You have to be able to understand and translate very quickly. And as you know, and all school admin, it's working with that relationship with your families, with your children. It's imperative.
Yeah, yeah, so much. I learned a lot from my background as a referee, like you're sharing, in
Uh huh.
terms of making decisions, being in the spotlight. But you were also in business. You mentioned
Yeah.
response, communication. What were some other tools and characteristics, Nick, that you brought from that world into the world of education?
Yeah. Well, if I may, I'll take a second. So,
Yeah.
with the acting, it was a terrific career. In a short amount of time, I got to work on movies, off Broadway shows. In between, I developed my art career, where I was became. I mentioned earlier to you, was recognized in the Asian Financial Times as one of the top emerging artists.
Wow.
It's created a sense of creativity, a sense of striving for accomplishments, um, and in the business sense, uh, again, I wanted to. I always find myself wanting to provide to my stakeholders. So the business as well was a local coffee shop. We set up a stage. We hosted programs for the local schools, for the local artists. Um, it just all of those things have added to my sense of being as an administrator. Now, the business side definitely budget. We started the business from scratch, and that definitely has helped me maintain a sense, what I would call a sensible budget here at the school.
Tell me a little bit more about being on Broadway in New York City. Whether it was off Broadway,
Yeah,
you're right there. Movies. Did you
yeah,
have a preference? And when you hit that stage, were you just like, oh my God, I'm here?
yeah. It was what an experience. I've been so lucky in my life. The I'll be honest with you. Up until the age of 16, I was an ELL student. I needed supports throughout my educational career, and so
You grew
um,
up speaking Chinese.
well, I actually spoke three languages in my household. And friends who had come over, they were like, "What on earth are you saying?" I spoke no language well. Between Chinese, French, and English, people were like, whatever language you're speaking, you know, it's kind of unusual. But so when I went to a formal English speaking school, they're like, "Man, you're in this classroom." So up until the age of 16, I was working on my English language.
Wow.
Um, but one of the things that was hard for me to overcome was working off Broadway, and they say off Broadway because it's the size of the theater.
Sure.
So I always struggled learning lines. Yeah, disaster. And I would say the last play I did was off Broad Henry V off Broadway, and I was like, my gosh, what are you doing? You've got pages and pages of lines. And I don't know, I'm a glutton for punishment, but I loved it. Working with the team, with the cast, I met incredible people, really wonderful people. And it just it was a great career, and then I moved on.
Doing different things here. You're in Colorado now. Nick, we touched on your diverse background in work, but
Yeah.
also your cultural background. Again, Chinese, English, and now you're in the United States in Colorado. You're the first non-Caucasian admin in your district and really in your region. What does that mean for you? Is that something that you feel that you are carrying, kind of breaking down barriers here in
Yeah.
2021?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Fort Morgan in Northeast Colorado is an unusual community, and I don't like the terms of minority majority, but in this conversation, Fort Morgan is a minority majority town, uh, so that it's extremely diverse, extremely diverse. Our local factory employs people from all over the world. We have a lot of refugees here. What has stood out to me though is that at the level of the leadership, your school boards, your city council, the people here are not represented. So it's not a goal of mine to force those changes, but I've been, I guess, a part of the change. I did not realize until last weekend that I was the first non-Caucasian principal out here,
Wow.
this is an established district of 100 years. So it's great. It's a great feeling to be knocking down those barriers. Um, I think at the end of the day, it's just I hope I can model to other people that it is possible and that they take that step. But those folks have to take the step.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And being an ELL learner and
yeah,
learning different things and that background, what does that bring to the table for you in your leadership, serving a minority community? What
yeah.
does that add to your game as a leader?
Yeah. I do enjoy. I every other year I'll do an implicit bias presentation to my
Mm,
staff.
mm,
I live it, I breathe it, I've experienced it. I think um, I'm I like to model for the students that there are possibilities. There are no, you can strive and you can achieve the things that you want. I like that my staff is mixed. Because we also are the first dual immersion program in Northeast Colorado,
ooh,
so I have a very diverse staff as well. Um, and I feel like it's a model, a good model for our community,
yeah.
that we can represent our community, our local district, and really stand out in Colorado.
You mentioned implicit bias, Nick.
Mm.
Right? People look at you, right, before you even speak. Is he Hawaiian? Is he
Yeah,
Asian? Is he Filipino? Like, what is?
yeah,
And then you speak, and you
I
got
know.
this English accent, and people must say, like, how often do you get that question of like, what are you?
What
Like,
are
how does
you?
that happen?
Yeah, all the time, all the time. It's getting easier. It's getting easier. The more I get around, people are like, oh, it's Nick.
Yeah,
Uh,
but does that bother you? Are you happy to share? Because when I
no,
met you in front of
yeah,
200
yeah,
people, I was like, "What? Oh my God! Look at that! I thought I had an accent,
yeah. No, yeah, you do have an accent to me.
just a
No,
touch."
yeah, it's fine. You know, I be growing up all over the world. It's normal. It's instinct. We do want to be a part of something. We do want to communicate. I have no issue with it, and I'm open to questions. Being an educator, I love when students ask questions. It's okay. I know there are sensitivities. Absolutely, I see it. I've heard it. But use your noggin. It's I'm here to. I want to share. I want to teach, and part of that is communicating. So that's what we do.
Awesome. Awesome. I mean, it's incredible your attitude and your just everything you're bringing to the table. Nick, let's talk a little bit about your school. You're doing some great things there. You have an amazing PBIS program, reducing your discipline referrals by 75%. Tell me some of the great things going on in your school.
Yeah, thank you. When I took over Columbine here 6 years ago, I was green. There's no denying. Without the support of staff and everyone around me, that's the only way I've been able to succeed in this position. So 6 years ago, we were rough around the edges. There was no denying. Office referrals were fast and furious. What happened was that uh, my style of leadership is modeling. So it's and here's the painful part, Andrew. It takes forever,
Yeah.
right? It takes forever to change a culture.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to the folks listening. It's not going to happen overnight. You're like, you're the new principal. It's going to change. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So the first couple years was hard, but that was how I first earned. I feel like I earned a sense of trust from the staff. They felt comfortable approaching me and having difficult conversations. Uh, at that point, staff said, Nick, we need, we recognize we need to make changes. Would you be open to considering X, considering Y? We got a team together, and it was actually one of our music teachers, Miss Trujillo, Paris Trujillo. She's like, hey, how about a house system? So we said, okay, let's get eyes and ears on this. Let's look at it. And sure enough, through this committee, it was a lot of work for a lot of staff members, and we introduced a house system. So this school, when I took over, we had about 260 kids. We are now at 410.
Wow.
That's another thing I do. Like when I was a coach, when I took over the program, I doubled the program from 60 kids to 130 kids. Same thing here at Columbine. 260 some kids. We're now at 410.
Wow.
All the children are divided into one of four houses, and we work every week on SEL. So we carve time out every Wednesday afternoon at 2:20. We have carved out 35, 40 minutes to work on the house groups. And at the elementary level, we mix the students from first to fifth grade. They integrate. The upper grade level kids are mentors for the younger ones. And there's programming every week. So the team puts on the programming, they distribute it to all the staff, all staff participate. And like I said, I've seen a giant reduction in referrals. It's a sense of belonging. The children feel a sense of belonging, the staff feel a sense of belonging. We're responsible to each other. It's changed the culture of the building.
Yeah.
Now, that is one of the main tools we use. We have capturing key parts. We use restorative practices, and that we've had training in all of these things, and we take a little bit here, a little bit there, integrate it, and it's a program. It's now a program.
Yeah, but it's great people running it. It's great leaders endorsing it, and I love how you use the term. Let's get eyes and ears on this, right? It wasn't, hey, I'm doing this.
No.
You brought people along with you. So important, and kudos to you, and that's great, Nick. It's great to hear, and I definitely want to share some ideas. If you're watching live with us now, you want to jump in, ask Nick a question, please do that. I'd love to connect with people listening and watching, and that's awesome to hear the growth, Nick. Right, you're somebody that people want to be around, and that's not surprising me to hear that number. Nick, you and I connected in Breckenridge in the summer. You came to the Surviving and Thriving presentation, right? What was it there? What was something in the presentation that got your attention that you've now said, hey, I'm gonna do this, right? Was there something there that stuck out to you?
Andrew, I felt like it complemented what I do. I mean, you use stories, experiences to guide, to help, to to get people discussing things. And so when I heard you talking, I was like, oh my gosh, there's my brother from another mother there. It was awesome. And the team I was with, they were like, my gosh, yeah, this is wonderful. Sharing experiences. What have we learned from these experiences? That's how we evolve.
Yeah.
And true, I've been blessed in my life. I've had incredible experiences throughout my life, and that's what I feed off those things. That's how I function. And I had just last week, I had a young leader shadowing me, and I said, I'll be honest with you. 20 years ago, young Nick, I wouldn't be in this position. I wasn't capable. I didn't have the strategies, the skills, the mindset. But older Nick, I'm not going to say my age. I feel more comfortable, and I feel that I can share and help people.
Well, and speaking of helping people, we're planting seeds, right? You have the apple there, you have the prop.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
let me see that, and I want you to share what that represents. Tell our audience what that's about.
Well, this was at your presentation, and you asked me a really good question. You were talking about the seeds, right?
Yeah.
And you were like, how? Oh, crikey! How did you put it? You're like, how many people would this affect? And I think I took it a little bit further, where I said, but Andrew, there's all these seeds in here.
Yeah.
And then the seeds, if we spread the seeds, and then all those trees would grow. And then actually your example is not just slices of apple, it's a whole exponential orchard going on here. This is how we touch our people, and how we share and we grow. Yeah, it was great. I'm glad you just said I forgot.
Yeah, no, I'm thrilled you have the apple on there. And that is the reminder that we as leaders are planting seeds, and you don't know how far they're going to go, right? You have to keep planting and keep reaching people. And you did that there. And, just listening to you talk, right? You say, I'm blessed, I'm lucky. But you're creating these opportunities. You're taking risks. You're leaving England. You're leaving China. You're leaving New York and creating different experiences. And you've had a full life. You are one of the most unique people I've met. I'm blown away by your experiences, Nick. Yeah.
The person we should be thanking is my wife. She's put up with so many shenanigans. I like you mentioned, I love getting to a level of expertise, of comfort in my career, and then I change. I know it's hard for my family, but I have a drive in me that's always hungry.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
And you mentioned it as a strength, but you said it could be a weakness too.
Yes, sir.
Why that restlessness? What do you think that is?
I don't know. You need to ask my doctor. No, it's a sense of it. I think when I really spend time on myself and think about it, it's a sense of achievement, accomplishment. Once you've hit a goal, you look for another goal.
Yeah.
You're growing. And everyone should set both tactical and strategic goals, short term, long term.
You're doing that, you're modeling that, and you're having success where you're at now. Nick, what is something that you wanted to talk about that I didn't ask you about?
Yeah. Oh.
The mustache. Yeah, what's going on with that? I mean, it looks fantastic. Tell me about that.
Andrew, I don't know if this might be a curse. So the first year I was here, I was like, because I worked with high schoolers, right? I can riff with high schoolers, and I move over to elementary, and I'm terrified. These are little kids, right? And that they're everywhere, and they're like, they love you. And I was like, I've got to do something for these children. So I was like, I know what? I'm going to grow a mustache, and at Christmas, I'm going to hang ornaments on this thing. So that first year, sure enough, I grow this mustache and I hang ornaments, and the kids are like, "Yay!" So year two comes by, and I'm like, "Oh, the kids seem to really enjoy it. I'll do it again. I'll do it again." Yeah. Sure enough, starting in October, this thing like, winter holidays come along, and sure enough, the principal, the headmaster, hangs ornaments. Yay! Year three, I'm like, this thing's kind of annoying. It gets hot. It's like a squirrel on your face. Next thing I know, the kids are like, Mr. Are you gonna grow the mustache? And I was like, well, they're like, but it's a tradition. And I was like, oh crap! 2 years in a row becomes a tradition.
Yeah.
Oh, so now every year I'm like, I don't know how to get out of this thing. Every year I have to grow this. This year I have Chinese takeout ornaments. Yeah. So it's all, don't tell, because every year it's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Yeah. Wow. How do you fit the mask over that?
Oh, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
The mask messes it up. So
Yeah.
here's my friend. It's called Clubman Wax.
I was going to ask the secret. What's the secret?
Yeah, it's Clubman Wax.
Yeah. Now, is it firm? Do kids say, "Can I?" Or is it a little flexible?
It does keep fairly firm. It's got to support the weight of those ornaments.
Yeah, that's impressive, man. That's we carry a lot of tools as school leaders, but that I might need to add that. That's fantastic, Nick. This is great. You are a breath of fresh air, and to see people smiling, see leaders kind of taking it all in, but still being able to smile. You're bringing it, man. I appreciate it. Nick, let's get to rapid fire. I know you got stuff there, and I'm headed to a basketball game. So these are rapid fire questions. The first answer that comes to your head.
I thought you when you said I thought it was okay. Okay, sure.
Here we go. Last book you read.
I like military biographies. Bravo 20.
Last movie you saw.
Watching TV series because my daughter told me to. Cowboy Bebop.
You like that?
It's an anime.
Oh, okay. You've been all over the world. Favorite place to travel?
Oh, the last place I was Cambodia. Really enjoyed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Favorite dish? What's a dish? If you're going out to dinner with Mrs. What's your dish?
I like Asian food, so we'll go Chinese.
Okay. Greatest challenge you're facing now in your work?
Oh, substitute teachers.
Mm.
I know it's nationwide. We don't have enough subs.
We had a brand new person in today. I was like, and I was going around. I was telling everyone to be nice to him.
Treats. Yeah. What do you want from Starbucks? Yeah, absolutely.
Anything you need.
Yeah.
Your favorite stress reliever?
By Squeezy Man.
Nice.
Yeah, he lives on my table.
Yeah. Nick, you presented a lot of passions, a lot of good things about you. What's something that gets under your skin?
Lying. Lying. It's hard to work with lying.
Have you used the fire, water, and trust story yet?
No, I will. I think I need to reread my book.
At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I feel fill in the blank.
Pretty darn good. Saturday mornings, breakfast at home with the family.
Yeah. Best purchase under $100 that has had a great impact on your life.
Oh, do I have time for a story?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. A few years ago, I was watching TV and it was all blurry. It was one of those, the old heavy, deep TVs. It was nice though. It was a Sony. So I say to the wife, honey, this TV's short. We've had it for so many years. So I order a TV online. Flat screen, the first flat screen I ever get.
Wow.
And it's from a website and it said refurbished. Set it up and I was like, darn it. See what happens when you order refurbished? I got ripped off. It's all blurry. So Thanksgiving rolls up and I line up at a big box store and I get in there and I get this 40 some inch TV and I bring it home and the darn thing's blurry. And my wife said, Nick, I've booked you an appointment, and these $60 glasses fixed all my TVs. I was like, oh my gosh. This was a long ago. This was like 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my glasses. Great buy.
All good. All good. It happens to us, right? Biggest goof of a line on Broadway.
Actually, Henry V, it was, listen, lots of lines, lots of action, because it's Henry V, right? I'm constable, leader of the French army.
Wow.
We've rehearsed this fight scene like hundreds of hours. I'm in the middle of a fight scene in front of I can't remember which public school came to watch us, and I had a brain fart. I'm in the middle of a fight, and I was like, all of a sudden I take a dive, like I got hit. And Henry V didn't even do anything. He's just looking at me like, what are you doing? I was like, oh. Yeah, so it wasn't a line. It was like, I killed myself on stage. I don't know why.
The show must go on.
Yeah.
American football or international football or soccer, as they say.
The real football. Yeah,
Soccer, yeah.
I was the coach, head coach.
Who's your team? Do you have a team you follow?
Chelsea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something about Nick that people don't know about.
I'm only 5'6". I know I look huge, but I'm only 5'6".
You're a huge personality. How often do people mispronounce your last name?
Well, I think someone did it about 5 minutes ago.
I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
Yeah, I love having these elementary kids because I teach them how to say it, Mr. Right? And then I tell them, man, you guys speak Chinese so good. They love it.
Go to exercise routine.
I go for walks now.
Yeah.
I go for walks.
Keep it easy on the knees.
Well, another story. When I turned 50, I said I wasn't going to tell you my birthday, but so when I turned 50 not too long ago, I ran the Boulder. It was great. Loved it. Not 6 months later, I had a bit of a health issue. So I'm like, I go a little easier now on myself.
Okay.
Yeah, the old ticker.
What's a holiday goal or a New Year's? I don't believe in New Year's resolution. I believe in making small improvements every day. But is there something that you say, I want to?
It's funny. We think alike on so many things, right? I don't wait for New Year to make resolutions.
Yeah.
Like years ago, my older daughter was like, Dad, please stop smoking. And I was like, yeah, listen, sorry, folks, young folks who don't smoke. I come from a generation where unfortunately it was very popular.
Yeah.
Sure enough, as soon as she's older now, she's a teacher with LA Unified, but when she was 7 years old, she said, Dad, please stop smoking. You know what? I stopped. I don't wait for dates and stuff. This winter, I'm going to go see my mum. It's been real hard. I didn't see her for a few years because of the pandemic. She lives in Asia. So she's out on U.S. soil right now. I'm going to get to go see her at Christmas.
Nice. Nick, if people wanted to get in touch with you, learn more about you, or if they had questions from the show, how can they get in touch with you?
I think LinkedIn is a good way to find me. I'm here in Colorado at Columbine Elementary. That's where you'll find me. But LinkedIn, because of folks all over the place, please friend. I don't even know what do you say on LinkedIn? Do you friend people? No, you.
You think you link with them is why.
Yeah, link with me on LinkedIn, please.
My friend AJ Bianco, he's watching from New Jersey. He'll connect with you as well. Nick, do you have a quote you like to end with? I always like to end with a quote. Is there something that that you like? Is there one that sticks out to you?
No, sir, but I can definitely come up with one.
Yeah, go ahead, give it to us.
Hey, be real, be you. Keep it simple. What's best for students?
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Including a mustache with ornaments on.
Give me a way out of this, please.
Hey, you got to start a new tradition. That's
there we go.
A new tradition. Yeah. So Guys, this was Nick from Colorado. Check him out. Nick, it's been an honor to have you on, really, and I wish you and your family the best this new year. I know I'll get to see you in February coming up here.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you.
Keep planting those seeds. This was show number 188. Please honor our sponsors here, Hansy's Cookies. If you're looking to send Christmas sweets to somebody, they vacuum ship and they'll get them to you. Murata 15 is that discount code. Hansy's Cookies. And I got the music back here. Let's bring it in. And we're going to sign off here on 188. Thanks for tuning in. I am at Andrew Murata 21 on Twitter. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We're going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. There it is, Nick. Nick, you stay on the line. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.